It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
No fear, no fear, no fear. You see this right here for the video audience? It's Freedom's Phoenix dime card. You know, these right now are worth, I just did my, calculator, and then on the back we have it at $40. We had these when we first started doing wallet voting, we had them at $30 an ounce. It's $42.87 now. $42.87. In my silver calculator, it shows what? It's at $3.10 for one pre-1965 dime. $3.10. I bought these when it was like $1.30 something a piece. I'm going, it's not getting better. You know what I mean? It used to be when silver it broke 20. I'm like, yay, validation. See, told you so. 25, yay, 30, it's 40. Now I'm afraid to look at the price of silver now. You'd think I'd be going, yeah, I'm not. It's going to get bad. It's going to get real bad. And they're just adding stuff to our food and water. Heck, even the plastic that they put the bottled water in. It's having all kinds of effects on our hormones and stuff. I'm just, ew. Well, today we're talking to gardenpool.org. Danielle and Dennis are a family, they're both boys, right? You have two sons?
A boy and a girl.
A boy and a girl. So you have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and the older one's the young man, right?
Yep.
So now we're getting into, in the first hour, we kind of got an idea. We got introduced to Danielle and Dennis. They started making their pool into a hydroponic. Well, really, it was kind of just, dirt gardening. They pour water in it and accumulate in the bottom. And they kind of, hydroponics will be better. And then they're like, it's just getting to be a pain in the butt. We'll go to aquaponics. Now, go ahead and summarize the aquaponics. You have, you took the plants out of buckets. When you did the hydroponics, so you just had the roots in what? But what were they being held in?
Okay, basically we took all of our plants out of the dirt, rinsed all the dirt off of the roots, and then we put, originally we put them in lava rock. We started growing in lava rock, and we actually made the switch to expanded clay pellets. They look like clay marbles, and it's nice. It allows plenty of water to pass through. So with aquaponics, basically what you have is you have the fish, and the fish waste is ammonia, and that ammonia is, pretty harmful, but bacteria convert that ammonia to nitrites, and then eventually it's converted to nitrates, which is plant fertilizer. So what we have is we have the fish in the deep end of the pool, and it's pumped up slowly, and then it's fed to all of our plants now. And then eventually goes back into the pond. Okay,
now let's back up a little bit. Now we went from dirt, we went to lava rock, and then to these clay marbles. And I'm wondering why the switch from, pumice or lava, because we got a lot of that here in Arizona. We got cinders. They pay you to, to let them haul it off and dump it on your yard. So we got plenty of that. But that difference is what? The benefit of going from cinders to, which we call it's pumice, it's lava rock, and to these clay pellets was what? Why did you make that switch?
Well, basically, the clay pellets enables us to move plants around. We can take a full-grown tomato plant and move it without damaging the roots because it's, sphere-shaped and the roots don't grow in it. And what happened with the lava rock is the roots would grow inside of it, and if you try to pull it out, it would just totally damage it, and eventually the rock would crush down. So the nice thing about the clay pellets is you can grow over and over and over again. So
okay. So the pumice is too porous, and the roots actually get inside them, and you got a bunch of pumice hanging off your roots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. So we go to the clay pellets. Good thing to know and why. So now we have the water from the deep end is being pumped up to the top of your ecosystem, and gravity just goes down. Now let's talk about the pump. You know, anything special about the pump? It's just a fish pump? I mean, what is it?
It's a fountain pump, but what we did is we looked for the lowest power using pump with the most energy efficient pump we could find. So we found a 35 watt pump that pumps about 350 gallons per hour. Nothing major, just has to reach just up to the top of our pool.
350 gallons an hour. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, but not for 35 watts. That's the neat thing.
No, that's my point. I mean, still, I mean, you're just drawing 35 watts, but, 350 gallons an hour, that's like a lot. I mean, in a minute, what is that? 12 gallons a minute or something? I mean, no, I don't know. You do the math, but it's a lot. So here we have a high capacity. Now, how are you supplying that power?
We actually use solar panels, PV electric panels. We have, I think we have about 90 watts right now running, and we have a couple of marine batteries, 250 amp hours. So we can go a couple days with no sun and still be okay.
And that includes nighttime. So your pump is still using the battery backup to pump all night long?
Yeah, that's right. And it goes and goes, and it doesn't stop. And so far, thankfully we're in Arizona with 330 days of sunshine or something like that. So we run completely with solar power.
Okay, now how much does this pump cost? Have you had to replace it? What's its expected life expectancy? How do you filter the water going into it? Just a screen or something? Let's get some details on the pump.
Basically, the pump wasn't that expensive at all. I think maybe we paid $40 or $50 for it. We looked online for a pump. Everything else we found local except for the pump in the top of our pool. But the pump, we have a bucket that we fill with the pump at the bottom and lava rock. So basically all the water going into the pump goes through the lava rock, and maybe about once a month we clean the lava rock out. So that's kind of our pre-filter. And then all the water is just carried to the plants, and the plants filter the outlet.
I'm starting to feel that you're not spending a whole lot of time on the maintenance of this thing. I mean, you have a big ecosystem that's producing a bunch of goodies, and, I guess, that's one thing I am. I'm lazy, man. I'll bust butt getting it all ready, but don't think I'm going to be out here. I want to worship this pool, So I'll put the effort in to make sure I don't have to. So it seems like that's kind of where you're at.
Yeah, right now we have our system built for us. It's, built for us, and I grow my all my vegetables are 4 feet off the ground because I don't like to bend down. I don't have to water. I don't have to weed. Basically, I go out in the morning, make sure all the water's flowing. Sometimes snails or algae might clog the lines up, and make sure all the fish are doing okay, make sure they have access to food, and check on the chickens, let them out, after they lay their eggs, and that's it. So maybe I spend an hour a day, but we're always working on the weekends on it, improving.
Yeah, wow, okay, so we're coming up on a break here, and when we come back, I want to get into the next stages. Now, the next stages to me was a preparation for the fish, and we're going to hear about the fish. Fish? Okay. What kind of fish? What are you doing? They're just feeding your plants, or are they feeding you? How much fish do you consume, and how much can you consume in a week, a year?
Well, basically we have, thousands of fish. We don't know how many fish. We have tilapia, Nile tilapia to be specific. And Nile tilapia is perfect for our climate here in Arizona. We're very similar to the Nile climate.
Because they come from Egypt in the Nile that has a very similar climate that we do. We're going to talk about tilapia, these fish, when we come back in just a little bit. See how good this is? This is good information. gardenpool.org. We'll give you more and some pictures. Be right back.